Alright, welcome to Gundam Explained. My name is Adam. Today I'm going to talk about the most underrated Gundam game, maybe most underrated game out right now, and that is Gundam Battle Network Operation 2, or Gundam Battle Operation Network. It's a weird, crazy name that doesn't need to be named what it is, but it is, and it's really just a PvP game, and it's free to play. And while it has PvP components, it also has a PvE part to it. But the only reason I even know about this game is because I like Gundam, and so I searched for it, and it popped up free to play. It was in the Asian markets first, so on my PS4, I made another account. I forget if it was Japanese or another territory, so I could download the game and play it. Then I think it was in 2019, the end of 2019, I believe it had a Western release, and I was able to transfer all my progress, so not a big deal there. But the reason I want to talk about this game is because it actually is just really good, just on its own merits without having to be Gundam. It's the PvP is the main thing. So you go and you sortie, you launch a match, and it could be ground or space, and while the gameplay elements are the same in both, space has more of the vertical sort of traversal, and so where your jump and your duck would be used on the ground maps for that jump and duck. In space, it's to move up and down. So, the reason I really like this game too is when it comes to Gundam, the idea that you're in these giant mobile suits, the gameplay is slow, but not slow and boring, but slow as in it has that deliberateness of the giant weapons of mass destruction. It's similar to maybe playing like a game with tanks, or more of a sim type game. I guess in some ways this is as sim as you can get, I guess, with Gundam right now. So, part of it is it's free to play, but as you play, every day has these challenges. And you know what? Actually, while I'm talking, let me just... Actually, I've got some good music going on here. So this is on my other YouTube. Video could be blocked because of this or whatever, but, so you can see where I'm going with the music. That's not part of the game. That's from Mobile Suit Gundam. I just had to do that in. But so basically, as you're seeing here, I'm just running around this winter map. There's options here for the weapons. Really, as I'm playing, the main thing is you have just a number of weapons. It could be 5 or 6. It really depends on the mobile suit. But you cycle through them. Because as you use a weapon, you have to wait for its cooldown. And that's a really cool part that lends to the mechness of it. And as we can see here, there's that one dude that's been flying around a lot, and that was a lot of fun to chase after. But not only does it have that, element within the game, there's also little things. Like you can get out of your mobile suit and actually run around as a pilot. That means you can capture points, plant a bomb in the enemy base, and that lends to its different game types. Whether you're in space or on ground, you can do a domination type game mode where you're just capturing points. You can also play a game mode where you have to blow up. Well, that's actually not the game mode, but part of gathering the points is blowing up the enemy base. You can see with this one, at the top we've got the point system. There's also an ace match where after a while of fighting, someone will be targeted as the ace, and so you really get more points if you kill or defend. Or if you're the ace and you can kill or defend. So there are some other game modes too, but those are the main ones really. And when you go to sortie, you can choose from ranked match or just I forget, social match, whatever the other one is. But when you go in there, then you can choose from 3, and it kind of rotates. It's between ground and space. It could be a specific map, and it could be where it's a random map. But the main thing you're choosing is the I really forgot the terminology, but it's the points, the cost. I think it's the cost of the mobile suit. So the mobile suits can cost, I think, maybe $150, or is it $250? That's the lowest, but it can go up to like $650, I think. So, for instance, you'd have like a Zaku one down at the bottom, 150, 250. And those matches are, more for novices. It's still a lot of fun, though. Not heavy weaponry. But then you get to like the 600 and 650 cost mobile suits, and they have some awesome weaponry. You get like a double Zeta Gundam, and you can get the Mega Beam launcher for whatever units have those type of weapon systems. And those matches can get very heavy duty. There's a lot of, when you get to that point, there's a lot of meta involved. So you want to have like the specific mobile suit and use what is used to win most of the time. But I really, really just play for fun. As much as I am trying to do my best in each match, I'm not an expert by any means. I like to think I'm pretty good, and there's matches where I hold my own, but I think there are people that are truly experts in this. Gundam kind of being niche in America in the first place. When I'm speaking with other English speakers about this game, they, and it's a very small group, usually from the Reddit forums, but the amount of knowledge they have on all the systems, because there's really so much depth to this game that I don't even get into. Some of it has to do with, depending on the type you are right now. I think I'm considered what's raid, and there's like general support in raid. In raid, you kind of want to go out there on the battlefield and start attacking right away. But within that, there's also melee priority. There's also different types of melee combos you can put together. There's also grappling, and there's also countering of melee. So the melee system itself is pretty advanced, and it's quite fun. Now, on the other side, when you have your ranged options, there's just so much to go, especially if you get like a special unit like the Alex, the NT1. That one, has the chain gun on the wrist, and that's just awesome to use while you're playing. So yeah, there's really a lot of callbacks to the, and that's really what I should point out here. This is just mainly a UC Gundam Universal Century style game, and it's really the landmarks are there, the different mobile suits. And now, as it's free to play, like I mentioned before, but you can do your dailies to get coins. You can then use that to do what I think is typical in most Japanese style games. It's that kind of it's more of that gambling that we're now seeing bleed into a lot more. The microtransactions, although I think that's been backing off a lot. Like Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2 had a similar system at first, but they removed that. But yeah, what's interesting here is you might not ever get the mobile suit that you want to use unless you're playing enough to get the credits that you can then use to play the gambling mini games, or they're not really mini games. It's like it's called a supply drop. If you have enough coins, you do a supply drop. It will tell you the chances of unlocking the suit of the week or whatever. For instance, I always wanted the Zeta. I never got the Zeta. I got the double Zeta, but never got the Zeta. I think I got the Mark II, or maybe I didn't, and that's another one I wanted to get. But that's what's interesting. It's free to play, but you're constantly getting new mobile suits, but they're not always the ones you want. Which is another cool aspect about this game is it's not like there's a handful of suits to use. There are a lot of mobile suits. I can already tell you there's more than 20, more than, I don't know what the exact number is, just because I have to unlock them. And they actually go by the Universal Century timeline. So when the game first came out, there was only a handful of suits within, I guess it's the 1 year war, or shortly after that. But as time went on, and as they had their, I guess they call them the banner, showing like what's going to be coming out, they seem to go through the timeline of Gundam. So you've got stuff from, the Mobile Suit Gundam. You get Stardust Memory, 0083. You get 0080 as well. It goes into Zeta. I want to say, so they're at Double Zeta. I don't know if they're at Char's Counterattack. I'll have to look more into that because I know I don't think I have any suits from that. So I don't know what timeline it's at exactly. I kind of stopped paying attention to that as much and more of just playing the game. So, really, I just explained a lot of components, and there's really a lot more, because even when you go to equip your mobile suit, you can then equip parts to them, and there's kind of these 3 different segments in which you can attach parts you can get from winning in games or from buying in the shop. You can also take your mobile suit, what is the terminology called? You can take it somewhere where it goes into an upgrade phase where you can't use it for a set of hours while it's being upgraded. Not that there's a huge difference when you upgrade, but there's, again, the chance that's involved, and then depending on what you have already used or unlocked for a mobile suit kind of dictates how it gets upgraded. So really, I really think this is an underrated game, not just because it's Mobile Suit Gundam, which I even think within the Mobile Suit Gundam, I mean, there's, the Extreme Verse Maxi Boost game, which actually is not underrated. People love it, and rightly so. It's a great game. But I also think this one, it seems to be under the radar, I guess, in English, when it comes to the English territories or English languages. Because I think it fits a need or a niche of a type of game. For sure. Yeah, and so it does have the PvE modes, which are pretty cool. And I think, though, it's like a set of missions, like 3 missions, and I think they have been changing over time. And they would be scenarios from, in a way, from the franchise. Like there was one where you're actually fighting this Psycho Gundam. And that's not a unit you can choose from, but they had a cool PvE map where, you fight the Psycho Gundam. It's huge and it's tall and it's using the weaponry from Zeta Gundam. So yeah, that was very cool to see. So yeah, the game does have microtransactions. It's really buying the coins if you want to use, and it's really just it's. Does it really help you in the game? Kind of, because if you happen to just win with your money, a badass suit. Some suits have some really good meta, and that's like when they first come out, and then people will figure out the strengths and weaknesses of a suit and talk about it online. Let's see, what do we got here? But anyway, let me actually go back. Let's talk about some of the gameplay that's going on here. What am I? It looks like I'm some sort of a Dom. Doms are really good. The F-Freet, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Custom is a good one. There's one that has kunai, real one, and it does like a giant one. That suit just happens to work out well. I think that's better. And that's actually Andrew WK's rendition of Galant Char. So yeah, this is actually from you can just search Adam Blue Gundam on YouTube, and all the videos that show up are my gameplay. And I have it from a year ago to just, a month back. Let's see what this is like. Yeah, and if you're watching it on my channel, it's actually 60 FPS. It's just, I think because I'm recording my screen, it's not going to be at that. So right now I have the GM3. I want to say there was a more specific name for it, but this is a great suit to use. And obviously I've got to punish this guy, because even though I was attacking him, he did turn his back to me to go after someone else. Yeah, look at the designs there. Okay, so I was using, I took out you can see that long delay. I just did a kind of a dash, which I love. It's just, and that's funny, it's just like Battlefront 2. Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is another game I like, where it kind of has that dodge, and this does it very well. So what you're seeing is I'm holding down R1, and that allows me to bring up, and if you memorize the quick weapon actions, you can quickly get to the next weapon, which I think is a pretty neat feature that most games don't have. You have to use a wheel to select or go through a selection. For this, you can hold on R1, quickly press where you have assigned the weapon. Let's see, did that get cool? So, another really neat thing is, like I was saying, they have like Zeta, Double Zeta, other vehicles that can transform into a ship, and you can actually do that and fly. They've also updated recently where there's more underwater aspects to the levels, and they've added underwater battles and mobile suits that can take advantage of being underwater. I just love looking at this game. It really is a lot of fun. You know, if I was to criticize it for anything, and I think there's nothing to do with the gameplay, it's sometimes it just takes too long to get into a game. You start up the game. You then load into the overworld. You then are a character. You go run to your guy to get your items, or you go run to the sortie lady so you can say, hey, I'm, ready to go play. It then launches the game type to choose, the map to choose. Then you wait for it to make a room. Then once it makes a room, you have to wait for all players to be ready. It could have just been the way it was designed, because I know nowadays games you can get into very quickly. It could also be the amount of people playing. I've never really thought about it that way. But if I could just get into games quicker, I would probably play more. I mean, because really a lot of times once I've met my daily challenges, I'm kind of like, well, I got to get to some other stuff. I've been sitting here waiting for so long. Yeah, and that's why sometimes I don't play it too much. But anyway, curious of everyone else's thoughts on this game. I think it's excellent. I can't wait for there to be maybe a third one that's fully making use of the PS5 and have a proper... I think Gundam would totally work awesome with a proper Battle Pass system. Just think of they release, Battle Network Operation 3. It starts the 1-year war. Basic mobile suits. The new seasons are just like they're doing here, but presents it a little better and, maybe not as nickel and diming as this seems to be. So... But anyway, again, this is free to play. It's on PS4. PS5 has upgrades on it where it actually has some awesome frame rate and resolution. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Talk later.